Hey there, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to take one of these dinosaurs from the interwebs. You open image in new tab. So go down image in new tab. It will open up that that PNG on its own without all of the extra stuff, right? So if I open link in new tab, it'll come up to whatever freepix.com, and even though that's okay quality, we want to try to blow this picture up. And once you have the picture pulled up, if you press and hold the Windows key, Shift, and then press S, that you can surround and copy an image. So it's their snippet tool. I'm overcomplicating that with the name. But we go back, now that we have that in the clip saved in the clipboard, we just Control V whenever you go into Lightburn, and you'll have your image pop up. Also, another example I have is I took a picture from my phone and of just a cardboard cutout or a trace on over a piece of paper, and the output was for the images needs to be selected as output. So if you see that fogged out or transparent, just checkbox that under the cut layers section. But what we can do is, if you zoom in, you can kind of tell how good of a contrast we got. We had an overhead light that we had shining down as much as possible to eliminate shadows, but that was one technique that I used. I just used a fat magic marker and then just painted over this this cardboard cutout that I had. But we'll take the one from the internet. I'll move that one out of the way for now. Click on to your picture, and if you press Alt T will bring up the trace image, and I'll double click on that just to bring that up a little bit bigger. And you'll notice that you want to get these lines as crisp as possible. So if you start moving the cutoffs wheel here, or the slider, it will make these it'll start showing two different tones. But just by default, and if you start moving in the threshold as well, so that's the upper end, and then this would be like the lower end section. So it's looking for this very specific gray color here, and we want that to also capture that. So we'll move that cutoff slider down to the bottom, and the toe, you want to get as much detail as possible in the toe, because if you go out too far, that may not get you what you're looking for. But we'll move this slider to where the teeth are sharp. Make sure that cutoff doesn't start bringing in a bunch of anomalies, and you just keep that down at 0 for the cutoff. That's pretty good. We'll say OK. Now you should have a cutout or a tracing of the dinosaur. We'll move him out of the way. And if you want that filled in, you can go over here, go to the output, select it, and then go to fill. We're just doing this temporarily so we can get an idea of what it would look like as a cutout. But of course, this is the section for doing you would actually do this for the full cutout. But you'll also notice that if we were to cut this, these arms would fall off, right? So let's try and break this up and create some overlap. That way we can connect these pieces. So what you'll do is select the drawing line. You'll want to create a box. It's relatively hard to see. But once you see that connection come back, click on it and then right click, and that will stop the drawing. Press escape and that'll put you back on the selection. We want to connect you'll see the running ants on the edge here. Let me change that color so it'll be a little bit easier to see. It might even be too bright. Just change that to red for now. We'll select this, and when you select both of those, you'll notice that you're not getting your welding options here on the side, and that's because you have once you do the tracing, it groups all of these together. So click on your dinosaur and then select Control U, and that should break these apart. So I just clicked here in the white space. Now I should be able to drag these individual pieces. So I did Control Z to put that back in its place. I can drag this one around, put that one back in its place. And you'll notice that you still don't have the welding here. And one other common mistake that people make, including myself, is that this box that you created, even though it might have selected and you think those two ends are meeting, they may not be. So select on that and then do Control tilde, and that will select the node option, and it'll expose all of the nodes. Go to the green dot and you'll see that this is not connected, but if you take it and then drag it on top of that other green dot and then release, that should connect it all the way together, and now we have a closed geometry. And we'll do the same thing with this other one. Control tilde, drag our line, go back over, make sure it's not snapping to the other piece of the dinosaur. It's better to bring it out here in the white space to make it a little easier. Now that we have two closed pieces of geometry, we can select both of these, and now we have our welding selections that pop up. Now there's several different ones. You can go through and try each one of these. You should be able to go into your Boolean Assistant, select that, or Control B. Make sure it doesn't pop up on one of your other windows or one of your other monitors. And you can scan over each one of these without selecting them yet, and it'll give you an idea of what it is that you're trying to accomplish without committing to it and having to go back. And in our case, we want a union A to B. We'll click on it, say OK, and now we have a connected piece of geometry. Those two pieces are welded. And with those connected properly, you don't need that extra piece. We can forget about that. Select your other piece of geometry that you just created, and then select the original dinosaur body and do that same thing. You can go back to Boolean Assistant, or you can do Control B. and now we weld that piece all the way together. Now I'll continue on and do this with the other ones. You may overlook this. It's easy to do. But when we welded these two pieces together, what happens is it creates another piece of geometry inside of this outside geometry. So what happens is now you have this floating piece, and you may want to select all and then do Control U again to make sure that this piece is not grouped to the rest of the model. So now that that's moving independently, we should be able to select. Notice there's the running ants, but it's not on this inside piece of geometry. Now we can do node edit and all of our nodes will pop up. Let's change to a better contrasting color. Nope, not dark blue. Let's try orange. It's bright, but at least it'll work. So now, what we were trying to accomplish is get rid of a lot of these nodes in here. That way it closes this gap and we don't have unnecessary cuts through our model. So if we surround these, surround the nodes that you want to delete, now they're highlighted in red. Press D on the keyboard, not delete, it'll delete the whole model. So if you do that, just press Control Z and it should pop it back up. Next, we'll clean up a few more of these other ones. Surround those, delete, and just keep deleting them until they're not necessary. There you go. Do a few more here. Smoothing that out won't be a problem. And then we also have the top. I'm just using the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Okay. And you notice that that section is looks like it's gone. It's not, it's still there. It's just that it was a different color. Control Z to put it back in its spot. Surround the entire model. And we'll select the same color. We'll turn it back to black. And then it puts them both on the same vector. So it'll cross them over. So you notice if you bring it outside of the geometry, it turns solid black. And if you put it back in, it flips its color. But we do still have a little bit more to adjust on this one, seeing how it still cuts quite a bit into the leg, and a lot of the tail structure is going to be compromised. So we select on that one, Control tilde, or do the node selection here. We'll surround these, press D to delete them, and that should be enough. Now I'll press escape, escape, surround the whole model, then do Control G to group, and now you've grouped your model, and you should be ready to start selecting your layers and deciding all your settings and things like that, but we're not going to go through that in this video. But hopefully that's helpful to somebody out there. Let me know if you have any other suggestions on different features in Lightburn that might be a little confusing. I'm learning stuff every day, and I'm happy to help anybody that's out there. Thanks.